When it comes to the best graphics card for PC gaming, you're going to want one that's capable of beating the rest with silky smooth frame rates at the highest graphics settings, even at more expansive resolutions. It should offer great value for money and be easy to find on the digital shelves. The latter hasn't been a thing for GPU recently, but someone out there's hit the reset button, and things are finally returning to normal. So, let's start the video. Number 1. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060 Ti, the best value ampere to date. The RTX 3060 Ti is very closely related to the RTX 3070. Both utilize the same GA104 GPU. The RTX 3060 Ti has fewer SM enabled, with the same 8 GB of GDDR6 memory across the 256-bit bus, while 17% less capable in core count than its pricier sibling. The RTX 3060 Ti makes up for it with some judicious GPU boost frequencies. That partially explains why the RTX 3060 Ti can be within 17% to just single digits off the pace of the RTX 3070, despite operating at a silicon disadvantage. Not bad for a $399 card, if you can find it for that price. If you haven't already done the maths, at $399, the RTX 3060 Ti is 20% cheaper than the RTX 3070, so performance per dollar is on the up with the diminutive graphics card. That's why we love it so. It's a great GPU for the full stack of resolutions and has decent ray tracing capability to boot, courtesy of second-generation RT cores. The RTX 3060 Ti delivers gaming performance stats rather stupendous when you look at generational gains over even the RTX 20 series next to the GTX 10 series. It's quite frightening, actually. There's exceptional 1008 and 1440 performance in the tiny package here, the likes of which would have set you back something close to twice as much cash a couple of years ago, and that's pretty great. This card is even capable of dabbling with high-fidelity 4K gaming, although you're going to have to massage some graphics settings in order to really crack a solid 6 tips in more demanding games, and that's often just in terms of average frame rates. To keep your GPU above 6 tips requires a lot of tinkering. That can sometimes take the fun out of 4K gaming in the first place. It's a much smoother affair at 1440, and at 1008 you can pretty much max everything out and just go. Number 2. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3070, perhaps the only high-end ampere that's anything close to reasonably affordable. The RTX 3070 is also impressive for its ability to match the top-string Turing graphics card, the RTX 2080 Ti, for less than half of its price tag. Sure, it's not exactly a cheap graphics card, but the RTX 3070 is bringing ultra-enthusiast gaming performance down into a far more palatable price point, and it's also making high-end ray tracing and 4K gaming relevant to a much wider sector of the audience too. At $499, it's still a significant sum by any means. We're talking next-gen console equivalent pricing here, but it's hardly an exorbitant sum when compared to PC gaming's top graphics silicon today. In return, you're gifted a 4K-capable graphics card that doesn't require too much fiddling to reach playable, if not high, frame rates, and it'll absolutely smash it at 1440. No question about that. The RTX 3070 Founders Edition is still sporting the 12-pin power connector of the RTX 3080, and therefore it comes with a single 8-pin to 12-pin adapter in the packaging. Nvidia has once more delivered a super compact PCB with this FE card, however, which makes the whole shroud far smaller than the RTX 3080. Despite coming with 2 front-loaded fans, the spinner at the tail of the card is there to amplify the airflow across the heat pipes, and that does seem to aid the cooling performance of this smart little GPU. The RTX 3070 also offers up Nvidia's reliable driver stack, the GeForce Experience app, Shadowplay's recording, and the new broadcast suite. The impressive reflex latency spiking opens a new tab setup, and the latent potential of RTX I/O opens a new tab, bringing the next-gen console's most potent feature to the PC. And of course, you have ray tracing and the ever-improving DLSS enhancements. Number 3. AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT. The RTX 3090 may have sat unchallenged at the top rungs of graphics performance at launch, but it wouldn't be long until AMD rustled together a challenger in the RX 6900 XT, or Big Navi. The RX 6900 XT hopes to knock Ampere's finest from its perch on high and send it spiraling back down to earth, and it gets kind of close, too, with 4K performance a little off the pace of the RTX 3090 in all for 1/3 off the asking price. For that reason, it's simply the better buy for any PC gamer without any ulterior motives of the pro creator variety. But there's a reason it's not number one in our graphics card guide today, and that's simply due to the fact it's not that much better than an RTX 3080, and sometimes not at all. It's another $300 on top of the RTX 3080's recommended price tag, and you'd hope for higher performance in both rasterized and ray tracing workloads. Yet, inevitably its ray tracing acceleration lags behind the competition, with a $350 price premium over the RX 6800 XT. The RX 6900 XT offers little return on your sizable investment. The RX 6900 XT is 53% more expensive than the RX 6800 XT, yet offers just 5.25% more performance in games. That's why it's strange that AMD is making a point of the RX 6900 XT being a card built for gaming first. Even Nvidia did make that mistake, billing the RTX 3090 as a pro creator card with a substantial increase in memory capacity over the second-run gaming card below to help justify the cost. Number 4. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080 Ti. The RTX 3080 Ti isn't the mightiest GeForce graphics card that Nvidia makes. That accolade originally went to the RTX 3090 by a hair, and was more recently claimed by the RTX 3090 Ti. Opens in new tab. Though when all is said and benchmarked, it is the uber high-end RTX 3080 Ti that we'd recommend to any PC gamer looking to go all out on their next build. The arrival of Ampere generation did a lot to diminish the awkwardness or fiddly nature of 4K gaming, but the RTX 3080 Ti truly squashes it. Setting up for high-performance 4K gaming remains a pricey investment, but you needn't be as cautious as we once had to be on a game-by-game basis. You can relatively comfortably set your game to high or ultra settings and get comfortable, even high, frame rates at 4K. The last thing you want when gaming at 4K is to turn down graphics quality settings, and with the RTX 3080 Ti you shouldn't have to nearly as much as we've come to expect at 3840x 2160. The RTX 3080 Ti tends to fall a little behind the RTX 3090, although it appears the more expensive card only sees marginal benefit for an increase in core counts and memory. The RTX 3080 Ti is only single percentage points off the pace, with performance close to the RTX 3090 at 4K. The RTX 3080 Ti is as much a gaming graphics card as its progenitor, with a vast bounty of CUDA cores and speedy GDDR6X memory. This card demolishes any game you can throw at it with relative ease. It's also more than capable of real-time ray tracing, courtesy of ADRT cores. The GeForce RTX 3080 Ti remains an impressively powerful graphics card despite some inflexibility ingrained in the price. It will see some save a few pennies on ultra-high-end gaming PC builds and still claim top performance. The Ampere architecture is excellent, and stuffing more of it under that unassuming black and polished gray shroud simply makes for a great gaming chip. It does, then, achieve what it's set out to do: break the back of just about any game, API, or graphics-intensive task, even at 4K, and do so in a way that appeals directly to gamers' sensibilities. Though it's not quite the high-end priced performance champion the RTX 3080 is, the RTX 3080 Ti FE is in small part better buy than an RTX 3090 FE. The reason we don't rate this card higher up in our list of the best graphics cards, however, is down to its price. Launching at $1,200, it's only a stone's throw away from the $1,499 RTX 3090. Massively inflated pricing, or lack of stock, notwithstanding. Number 5. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060 12GB. The decision to load the RTX 3060 with 12GB of GDDR6 memory appeared a strange one at first, and in many ways it still is. It's more memory than the RTX 3080, after all, albeit slower stuff, and it tops out the RTX 3060 Ti too. However, the RTX 3060 wields it well, managing to dispatch the RTX 2060 by a large margin in most games, and by enough of a gap in the rest to make it worthwhile. And we're not going to turn our noses up at 12GB of VRAM when 6GB is the likely alternative. Perhaps the most newsworthy shakeup for the Nvidia RTX 3060 came with the announcement of a hash rate limiter. Opens in new tab, which was designed to keep the card from operating at its full capability while mining Ethereum, the crypto of choice for GPU mining. Nvidia hoped that it'd sway miners towards its new CMP lineup, built from off-cut GPU not fit for gaming consumption, while supposedly leaving more GeForce cards for gamers. It didn't stop the card from selling out, of course. With a decent generation-on-generation improvement and plenty of speed at 1008 and 1404 the RTX 3060 12GB is a graphics card easily argued for. It's also nominally cheaper than the RTX 2060 was on launch day, though it's not so easy to find it as a discrete number nowadays. That said, this card often crops up within pre-built gaming PC, opens a new tab, and for a decent price all-inclusive too. The RTX 3060 Ti remains the mid-range champion, but in that same breath, it must be said that the RTX 3060 is a fine upgrade for a 10 series or older card, especially if at close to the MSRP, and one that will likely see you confidently through the next few years of major game releases.